Welcome to the Driver's Line. I'm Greg.
And I'm Jordan.
And this week we have the 2025 Hyundai Tucson Limited
Hybrid.
All right, so as we said, this week we have the 2025 Hyundai Tucson Hybrid Limited all-wheel drive with us, and a big thanks to Hyundai for lending us this little urban predator.
That's right. If you like car news, reviews, and shenanigans like our European road trip, smash that like button and subscribe for more automotive action. Now, let's see what this Tucson can do.
All right, so let's go ahead and talk about the outside of this facelifted for 2025 Tucson, and you can't miss it in this color. It's called Ultimate Red, and it definitely turns heads.
Yeah, Hyundai's been going bold lately, and this one's no exception. The Tucson's got the signature parametric jewel grille with the integrated LED daytime running lights. The ones that disappear into the pattern when they're off. It's pretty slick.
It is pretty slick, and they've kept that angular crease bodywork going since its introduction in 2022. It's kind of the Tucson's thing now. All those sharp lines down the side, it's definitely not trying to blend in.
Nope, not at all. And it's actually a pretty big compact SUV when you think about it. It's just over 182 inches long, about 73 inches wide, and just under 66 inches tall. So it's not huge, but it feels pretty substantial.
Yeah, we've got about 108.5-inch wheelbase, which gives it that stretch look from the side. And with those big 19-inch alloy wheels, it really looks nice in this limited trim.
Oh yeah, and you can get black plastic fender flares even on the Limited.
Oh, come on, man. They should be painted on the Limited for your top trim. Let's do it.
Yeah, we know how I feel about black trim plastic fenders. It's on a high level thing like this, probably not, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, Hyundai does do its job trying to scale it up on the outside. It does have chrome window trim and roof rails, which are nice touches. But the black badge on the nose, it's a little funky to me.
Yeah, ouch. So let's go around back. The LED taillight bar spans the entire rear, and the lights themselves have a really cool look that looks great at night.
Yeah, it is one of my favorite things about this design, that rear end. It looks fantastic. Also back there, it looks really cool, is that hidden rear wiper on the spoiler. It's very Range Rover.
Very Range Rover and a Hyundai. So, bottom line, Hyundai's not afraid to make the Tucson look futuristic. This doesn't feel like a safe, boring design. And in this Ultimate Red, it definitely still pops in the segment.
So, sounds like there's a lot that you like about the exterior of this Tucson. Anything you don't like?
Absolutely. Well, I really do love Hyundai's design language right now. I think it's great. Top to bottom, largely fantastic. But, there are still some things that they can improve upon, like those rear indicators. They've got these beautiful taillights, and then they put these incandescent lit indicators in the lower valence of the rear bumper. Why? Why?
Yeah, it's very contrary to Hyundai's image of having all this technology in this vehicle, right? Another thing speaking to that, and I briefly brought it up before, but man, that Hyundai logo in the front, it honestly looks like there was supposed to be a Hyundai logo attached to it that just fell off. It just does not work.
Yeah, I remember when they delivered this car to you, because the first thing you did was text me. You're like, I think the badge fell off. And I'm like, I'm not sure. So I had to Google another picture of one. And no, it had not fallen off. That is just how it looks on this model.
Yeah, I didn't want the driver's line to get in trouble for damaging the Tucson, so gotta make sure you check it out. But, I think that they could have gone with another treatment up there. I think that black satin grille up front looks fantastic.
It does. Just use the satin on the H-badge. Come on. Easy fix. All right, so we covered the bold looks on the outside, but inside, this 2025 Tucson keeps the same design language, sharp, clean, and maybe a little futuristic as well.
Yeah, with this refresh, you're going to notice that it still feels super open in here. And part of that is the low dashboard and horizontal lines that they've implemented. It really stretches everything out visually.
Yeah, the space isn't just an illusion. We've got 41.4 inches of legroom up front, 41.3 in the back, which is basically best in class. It's shockingly roomy back there.
Yeah, and the headroom's pretty solid too. It's got 38.1 inches up front and a hair more, 39.5 in the back, even with that big panoramic sunroof. It doesn't feel cramped at all.
Not at all. And seats on the Limited trim here are leather, and they're heated and ventilated up front. You've also got heated rear seats, which is honestly kind of rare in this segment.
Yeah, I mean, Hyundai really stepped up the interior game with this 2025 revised interior. It comes in black or gray, but either way, it looks really clean and design forward.
And also worth noting is the center console has changed slightly this year. So Hyundai also ditched the start button, and they used to have it up here and they moved it down here. They've also integrated this gear selector, which we are not a fan of, to open up some of this space. It's really fiddly to use.
Yeah, but I mean, it does open up the space, which is important. So, you know, it is a family crossover. If you have a big bag or laptop bag or tablet, you can drop it right in here in the center stack, and it's got space for you.
Yeah, for sure. So they definitely made it a little bit more consumer friendly, which makes sense, right? So we've also got the materials in here, right? The materials are not what you would call luxury, but they're largely soft touch where it matters. Things that you're going to touch actually feel really good. We've got some brushed metallic trim, looks really nice, and everything feels really well screwed together. That is something that Hyundai and Kia have both been doing an excellent job of in recent years.
Yeah, I mean, overall, it's a pretty livable cabin. It doesn't scream budget hybrid at all, except in the back, you know, where the offsprings live. But, you know, that's fine. It's very cleanable back there.
Yeah.
So I think it makes the point. It looks nice. It's a clean design, and it makes it feel a little bit smarter inside.
It does. It does. Yeah. So, anything that you don't like about the interior of this Tucson?
Honestly, the biggest thing that really I have been bumping on is that column shifter. I get the idea of opening up space, but the twisting action just doesn't always feel right to me, and it's really, really close to my knee when I'm driving.
Yeah, it doesn't feel intuitive, and, you know, to your point, if I, you know,
yeah, I mean,
what gear are we going to go into? I don't know. And, you know, the other thing that's kind of funny is, you know, in a lack of intuitiveness, is this is supposed to have power folding mirrors, and we have not yet been able to figure out how to do that.
Yeah.
So we're going to make a feature on that later, and we will show that to you, because there's definitely a way to do it, and we're going to figure that out.
We are.
So let's talk tech now, because Hyundai packed this 2025 Tucson Hybrid Limited with lots of it. And, you know, some of it's subtle and some not so subtle.
Yeah, the big story this year is the new screen layout. Instead of the old separate cluster and the touchscreen setup, now you get a curved panoramic display. It's one large piece of glass, and it houses two 12.3-inch screens.
The instrument cluster is crisp and easy to read, and they move the start button up next to it on the dash, which results in a super clean look.
Yeah, and this has Hyundai's updated infotainment, which is really snappy. It looks slick, it's easy to use, and the tile-based menus are super responsive than the outgoing model.
One nice new feature is that both Apple CarPlay and Android Auto are standard in all 2025 Tucsons, and they're finally supported on the bigger screen now for navigation. They used to be only wired if you had nav, but not anymore.
Yeah, now with that wireless CarPlay, a great partner in that is wireless charging, and Hyundai did not skimp on it. We've got a wireless charging pad in the center here, plus we've got USB-C ports in the front and the rear. Everybody's covered.
Also, Hyundai's digital key 2 is standard here. That means you can lock, unlock, and even remotely start the car with your phone, and share access to friends or family who you want to borrow it, or if you put the car on Turo, you can even share it with some of your guests.
There you go. And with this revision, Hyundai really bouged up the cabin with the sound system. We got a Bose sound system up here, and they've added ambient lighting options this year. You can customize the colors, it can change with the drive modes, and it's across the dash and down the doors. It's not just a tiny little strip of light.
For sure. So one last update for 2025 is this camera system. The limited trim comes with a surround view monitor, and now it includes the blind spot monitor that pops up in the gauge cluster when you're switching lanes. It is a really nice feature, and I've actually enjoyed using it a lot.
Yeah, it's super helpful, and you don't just get a beep, you actually see what's in your blind spot. So it's giving you way more confidence when you're changing lanes.
So this interior isn't just modern looking, it's fully loaded. For under 45 grand, this Tucson offers a lot of tech in this segment. So I think it's time to find a spot to swap and get you a turn behind the wheel of this Tucson.
Sounds good. All right, so we've talked about design and technology. Now let's see what this hybrid Tucson actually feels like on the road.
Yeah, because hybrid used to mean slow and boring, but this thing's got a little punch. Under the hood, you've got a 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder paired with electric motor, making combined 231 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, put to the ground via the H-Track all-wheel drive and a 6-speed automatic.
Yeah, and you feel all that torque right away. I mean, it's not a neck snapper, but it moves 0 to 60 just about 7.1 seconds. That's just pretty quick for a compact SUV.
Yeah, a quarter mile goes by in about 15.5 seconds. You know, again, not a race car, but this isn't a penalty box, right? You can merge, pass, and not feel like you're maxing it out.
Yeah, and I mean, there's a big payoff here. You get 35 miles per gallon combined. That's 35 city and 35 highway with all-wheel drive, and our tester has been getting that.
Yeah, it's basically compact sedan mileage in a family SUV, and there's no plug, no range anxiety. Just fill it up and go.
And in terms of ride, the Tucson handles pretty well. I mean, it is definitely tuned more for comfort, but it doesn't feel sloppy in the corners. It's pretty composed and surprisingly refined for its class.
So bottom line, the Tucson Hybrid gives you real-world efficiency, decent performance, and doesn't make you feel like you compromise just to save a little bit of gas.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just good for a hybrid, it's good full stop. All right, and now it's time for our favorite segment, Would You Rather?
That's right, we're going to go ahead and pit this Tucson Hybrid Limited against some competitors in the segment and say which one we would rather have.
Yep.
So I'll go ahead and kick us off here. So the first one we have up on the docket, Jordan, is the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid Limited. Starts at about 40K, 219 horsepower, a little bit better miles per gallon than this. It gets about 41 in the city and 38 on the highway. Which would you rather have?
Well, I think the RAV4 is a great vehicle. I've driven it, drives great. But I will say, I think Hyundai really knocked it out of the park with this refresh. This interior feels a really step above the competition, and especially compared to the older RAV4, I would take this.
Wow. I would take the RAV4. I do see all your points, though. Your points are valid. The interior on this, I would say, is a little bit of a step up over the RAV4 because that's largely been carried over from when they introduced it. But, to me, just that for the same price to get the Toyota hybrid system, legendary Toyota reliability, things of that nature, I'm going to go with the Toyota.
Fair enough.
All right, so next up on Would You Rather is the Honda CR-V Hybrid Sport Touring. Starts at about $40,000 as well, 204 horsepower, 40 miles per gallon in the city, 34 on the highway. Which one would you rather have?
Well, way back we did test the Honda Civic Hybrid hatch, and that system really impressed us with its ability to deliver power, but also get great efficiency. And clearly, that in an SUV package with Honda's interior trimmings, I mean, I think I would actually go with the CR-V over this.
Yeah, 100%. I would agree with you there. I'm definitely going to go with the CR-V as well, and I think you could probably do a lot better than those numbers that Honda's quoting, right? We saw really high miles per gallon in that Civic Hybrid, and the CR-V doesn't weigh that much more. So I think that would be a really nice option if you want an efficient, comfortable, nicely styled, nice interior SUV. All right, so last up is a little bit of a sibling rivalry here. So we are going to go ahead and bring forward the Kia Sportage Hybrid SX.
Okay.
Starts at $39,000, about 227 horsepower and 38, a little bit better miles per gallon. That's 38 in the city, 38 in the highway.
Well, I think honestly, I think the styling and interior appointments of this really blow the Kia away. I just straight up love the way this looks, especially compared to the Kia. So I'm going to go with the Hyundai.
Yeah, I would agree. I'm definitely going to choose the Hyundai in this comparison as well. I think it looks a lot better than the Sportage. I think the materials are maybe just a little bit of a step above, so I'm going to go ahead and choose this as well. All right, folks, there you have for our Would You Rather. We just need to find a place to pull off for our final thoughts. All right, so we have pulled off for our final thoughts here on the 2025 Hyundai Tucson Limited Hybrid, all-wheel drive.
Impressive.
So we've got a lot of things that we like about this car, and one of the big ones that I do love is the exterior styling of this car. I think by and large Hyundai has done an excellent job styling this, and of course, as we mentioned multiple times in the video, this ultimate red really pops.
Yeah, I'm with you, Greg. I think the update on this looks really good. Not that it didn't look good before, too. I think they do an outstanding job with that. And carrying on to the interior, I think the biggest change here is that refreshed interior look, and it looks fantastic. It definitely looks more upscale than it used to. I think they did a great job with that. Yeah, they integrated a lot of really nice technology in that interior too. We've got that one curved panel. We've got the indicators showing your blind spot right there on your gauge cluster. It's really nice, like feature-packed forward within this Hyundai. A lot of things that you wouldn't see in a lot of competitors are right here. Yeah, not to mention, in terms of it compared to its competitors, the spaciousness that's inside of here, one of the largest ones in the class, and it really feels very roomy inside, which is super important for this segment, especially if you have a small family.
Yeah, and another thing that's important for any segment is performance. And we have a decent amount of pep in here, right? So, the turbocharged engine coupled with that hybrid system gives you a nice little bit of oomph off the line. We're only about 7 seconds to 60, 15 and a half through the quarter. Not bad for a little family CUV.
No, it's not very bad, but with that performance, we do have to pay a little bit at the pump. Unfortunately, the Hyundai does get worse fuel economy compared to its rivals like the Toyota RAV4 Hybrid and the Honda CR-V Hybrid.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of a bummer, right? Because when you're buying a hybrid, the one thing that you really want is excellent fuel economy, and this isn't bad, but it's just not as good as its competitors, which is a bit of a sticking point.
Yeah, another couple of sticking points here are some of the cost-cutting measures that we've come across. I mean, the rear materials are a little bit of a step down compared to the front passengers, and that front badge, I can't get over that.
Yeah, that's really questionable. Same with the rear indicators, it doesn't make sense, right? So why are we cost cutting in places like that?
Yep.
So that kind of brings us to the interesting proposition that this Hyundai Tucson is, right? You have a lot of tech, you've got a really nice interior, but it's no longer playing at a budget option to those competitors that it used to have, right? So a lot of people are going to forego a really nice vehicle here and go ahead and get that Toyota, go ahead and get that Honda. But if you want something that's packed full of tech and has a nice livable interior, this might be the option for you.
Well, on that fantastic revelation, it's time to end.
Thank you so much for watching.
We'll see you next time.
Thanks for joining us on The Driver's Line. Hit that like button and subscribe for more car reviews, specials, and podcasts.
A special shout out to our partner Prestige Auto and North American Vehicle Services for fleet management, keeping us fueled up and on the road, enabling us to keep bringing great content to you.